Hello, hello! Perfidious Pete here with another madness and melancholy-filled episode of Darkest Dungeon. The madness, of course, is being supplied by resident hero and sort of our de facto leader, Roderick Usher, who, as you can see, is currently but a hair's breadth from a complete and total mental breakdown, as well as a burgeoning membership in the Church of Scientology. Too more stress for Roderick, and L. Ron Hubbard is going to be his new mentor, so we should try and avoid that if at all possible. And as for the melancholy part, well, that's actually on me. I heard Bullet with Butterfly Wings on the radio today, and the soulful stylings of Billy Corgan have left me questioning everything I thought I once knew. It really sort of put me off my kilter. I mean, for instance, am I just a rat in a cage, even despite all my, and let's face it, not insignificant amounts of rage? Am I nothing but a naked animal, even though I'm totally wearing pants and a shirt right now? And I think most importantly, wouldn't putting butterfly wings on a bullet really kind of fuck up its ballistics? If you think about it, I mean, it seems logical. It probably wouldn't fly very well. I mean, bullets are spin stabilized, and it seems like the wings would be pretty bad as far as that goes. I don't know about you, but I mean, it's questions like that that fill me with melancholy and infinite sadness, man. Seriously, I mean, shit like that keeps me awake at night. Really does. But, as I say, the only way out, I guess, is through, so we're going to have to deal with this ennui as best we can, and let's tuck in and maybe just do some exploring. Perhaps traipsing through a monster-filled dungeon will help alleviate some of my sadness. And we can, maybe, perhaps, finally, for once and for all, find out whether or not the world truly is a vampire sent to drain, or whether Billy's big bald head is just kind of stuffed to ridiculously far up his own ass. So let's first things first, let's head to our stagecoach and see who else is about to be filled with melancholy and or sadness. Man, we really, guys, don't need any more plague doctors. I mean, I feel we've pretty well got the whole plague doctoring thing fully covered. Really, we got that shit leveled out. A Hellion wouldn't be bad, however. I do quite like Hellions. They're good sort of alternate combat. Guilty Conscience. Deeds, real and imagined. Crushing Guilt. Apparently she also is a Smashing Pumpkins fan. And she has a wasting sickness. Well, considering she's got tuberculosis, I think we'll probably let her journey along with maybe Doc Holliday and see if maybe it turns out better for her than it did for Doc. Barbaric Yawp is actually very good. Wicked Hack is okay. If it bleeds is reasonable. Bleed Out is pretty good, actually. It's a 3-point bleed for 3 rounds, so if it hits, it does 9 damage. My only complaint about Bleed Out is that it only hits the front target and then only from the front position. But we are sort of looking for a tank, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. Bretteville here is blight resistant, or rather, she's thin-blooded, which makes her vulnerable to the blight. And she has a penalty to range damage, which is not really a problem for her, as she doesn't have any. She's also resilient, which gives her bonus stress healing, which is fantastic, and she also heals more while in camp. You know what? I think we will definitively pick this hero up. So we're going to pick ourselves up a little bit of Hellion, and as a Hellion, I really feel probably there is just one name for sort of a badass hell-raising chick, and we're going to name her Karen Murphy. So there we go. The Murph is on the case, quite literally in this particular instance, so Murphy's going to join our little crew.
Barbaric rage and unrelenting.
I like his. I actually very much like his ability outset, very much. But do we really need another plague doctor at this point? I don't really think that we do. Did we take Dr. Frankenstein on a mission? We did not. He doesn't have as good abilities either. Do we want to fire Dr. Frankenstein? We could. Actually, if we're gonna fire anybody, we should fire Dr. Moreau. He's real bad. Maybe we just get a new Dr. Moreau, because he has Noxious Plague Grenade, which is very, very good. Oh, he doesn't have the stun either. Never mind, none of these guys have Blinding Gas. Yeah, you can just go back on the stage wherever it was you came from. Just sort of tootle off. We've got this shit covered without you, Turnaville. Fitzherbert! Well, I mean, Dr. Herbert seems like he would be a stone-cold healer. I mean, he's got the heals covered. Vulnerability Hacks. Actually, not a fantastic ability, but I quite like it because I really like... I'm very fond of bounty hunters, which we haven't come across yet, but I assure you, as soon as we find a bounty hunter, we will probably take him. But Vulnerability Hex has the Mark Target ability, which also allows the bounty hunter to do some fantastic damage. This guy also has Hands from the Abyss. and Demon's Pull, which I'm not a huge fan of. But really, all we're bringing Fitzherbert along for is the heals anyway, and possibly a vulnerability hex now and then. So I think we're gonna pick him up, and I don't see any reason to not necessarily roll with. We're just gonna call him Dr. Herbert. I mean, now I've been going with sort of kind of a literary vibe thing here, and but you know, episodes of The Simpsons are written, and I feel that given the name was sort of a nice dovetail, I'm gonna stick with Dr. Herbert, and I'm comfortable with that decision. Welcome aboard, Dr. Herbert. We're glad to have you.
To fight the abyss, one must know it.
Oh, is that a fact? Well, because, you know, Nietzsche said that when you look long in an abyss, it also looks long into you. So think about that, Mr. Narrator guy. Yeah. Anyway, let's put a crew together here. So we're going to bring our newfound tank, detective, or sergeant, or rather former detective and sergeant, Karen Murphy. Dr. Herbert, I really feel. Or is it Dr. It's Dr. Hibbert. What am I? I'm an idiot. Watched 10 billion episodes of The Simpsons. How the hell did I get that wrong? Anyway. There you go. Dr. Hibbert. Alright. Well, that's fixed, because I'm stupid. But also, he's going to be healing on our mission. We do need to fill up some other slots, though. Half-Cocked Jack, thanks to his stalwart performance on our last mission, actually is not as stressed as we would have expected. Dr. Frankenstein, you do have blinding gas. Why did we not take you on a mission? Well, we're gonna settle that right now. Dr. Frankenstein there, and his monster. I'd like to bring Frankenstein's monster, but alas. And I think we'll bring Simkin in our second slot. Now, let's pick a mission here. We could go to the Weald. It's 100% of room battles. Don't really like that. The Weald actually has some monsters in it that do significant stress damage, and for this crew, I like to keep their stress as low as possible. I do like this explore 90% of rooms. It's a medium mission, which involves camping. That is actually a pretty good item, but we don't have a leper to really take advantage of it, so I don't really see the benefit. Oh, that's very, very, very interesting. It's an ancestral item, which is really good. It's kind of the equivalent of like a legendary, if you're a WoW fan, or Dota, or any other things where legendary is the ultimate weapon category. 12% death blow resist as a penalty, though, is not fantastic. As tempted as I am by the nice orange nameplate, you know what? I think I'm going to skip it. Attractive things aren't always the best. All that glitters is not gold, or at least that's what some British band told me once. I don't remember the name. You guys might have heard of them. They're kind of obscure. Their name escapes me at the moment. Something with Floyd? I can't remember. Anyway. Something about Floyd may actually have been the name of the band. We're going to take this mission. Lesser rewards, but 3,000 gold and some heirlooms, which is fine. Let's start provisioning. So we have 3,000 to spend. We're going to spend 8 of that, or at least a good portion of that's going to go to food. The remainder is going to go to torches. So we have a whopping 150 gold before we're out of pocket on this shit, but we're going to take a shovel, because I always take a shovel, and a key, because I always take a key. Other than that, I think we're probably pretty well set. Anything else we might need, we'll either suffer without or find during the course of the mission. I'm all about minimal provisions for my endeavors here. It's a budget thing. We've got kind of a hiring freeze going right now, except for all the guys we just hired, of course. They weren't frozen out, but you know what I'm saying. Cost-cutting measures. It's a austerity time, folks. The Perfidious estate isn't as lucrative as it once was. So we have to explore 90% of rooms. This is going to be the room we don't explore, because all the rest of them we can then get if we go in a nice little sort of zigzag pattern here with no backtracking. So that's precisely what we're going to do. Off we go then. And we have found a confessional booth. Dr. Frankenstein, you seem like you have a sin or two on your soul that you might benefit from unburdening yourself with. Why don't you head on inside? Oh, well, 100 gold. So, Dr. Frankenstein taking an opportunity, apparently, to rob the poor box. Gotta say, Vic, you've probably got enough bad karma, what with the whole monster thing. Do you really need to rob the poor box as well? I mean, it seems like you're kind of piling on. Karmic debt's gonna be a bitch when it finally catches up to you. Alternatively, eventually your monster's gonna catch up with you as well, and that, likewise, is gonna be a bitch. Karen Murphy picking up a quick 25 gold. I'd say she took a bribe, but one knows that the Murph would never do anything as underhanded as that. And our first battle, which of course we managed to surprise the enemy despite having not necessarily the greatest light for it, so good. We could go for the harvest, and I'm going to. It still does damage to 2 enemies, even though none of these enemies can be bled. 6 damage is acceptable output. We could go for the barbaric yop, but none of these guys could bleed, which is a problem, because bleeding is sort of the thing that our barbarian does best. Let's just go for the kill. Wow! Karen Murphy starting things off with a bang, not screwing around at all, even a little. We're going to throw a blinding grenade at that chump, and he is now stunned as well. We could, you know what, let's, we can't. I was going to say we could pull that guy to the front, but we can't. So let's just put a vulnerability hex on this bone courtier. And he is now marked, so he'll be easier to hit and less likely to dodge. And that's good, because the Murph is going to finish his shit.
As the fiend falls.
So Karen Murphy proving herself to be a very efficient killer. 2 swings, 2 kills. And Simpkin is going to leap to the 4 there. Bump and a knife, 2 damage for Simpkin. Not really a problem. We are actually going to go ahead and heal as little... No, that makes no sense at all. Let's go ahead and just mark the Bone Arbalest so we get a better chance of finishing him off. I'm totally comfortable that Dr. Frankenstein, well, thanks for making a liar out of me before I even finished my sentence, Doc. Nice work, buddy. This could get a kill because it does 1 damage. So a rare kill for Dr. Hibbert. Simpkin, yeah, go ahead, just a little bit of stabbing is fine. Gonna get bayonet jabbed in return. Not really a problem. Little wicked knife for Victor Frankenstein, and that just leaves Karen Murphy, who has now 2 for 3 on criticals and has killed everything she has touched with a weapon. Bonus shovel, fantastic, excited for that. A buttload of gold, some extra food, and a couple busts. So a pretty profitable little battle there. Gonna put old Murph back in front and continue on our merry way. We're gonna pop a torch here before we go into this room since we got some extra ones. And Inzy Winsy. Alright, so this room is empty. Off we go then. And this is where our bonus shovel is going to come in. So we will shovel this. Digging through that rubble really, really is hard on your characters. It gives them a monumental amount of stress, usually around 20 apiece. And they also take just some light damage while digging as well. Dr. Frankenstein, why don't you see what's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the bag? Oh, it's a severed head, but that's cool because you're Frankenstein and you needed one of those. You actually sent a dude out to dig one up, so everything's coming up, Frank. Pop a torch, head on into this room. Again, there are benefits to having your light level low. Certain characters have abilities that benefit from lower light levels, and it is rumored that your treasure output is better when light levels are low. Supposedly you have increased random chances of getting better drops from low light levels. Me, personally, I prefer to just surprise the enemies and not get my ass handed to me in a sack. So I'll take the reduced treasure and the reduced risk, if you would, please. Sort of like an investing kind of thing when it comes to personal finances that tend to be very low risk. I'd rather have a nice, stable return on my investment as opposed to doing anything risky. More of a kind of diversify and mutual fund sort of thing than buy a bunch of T-bills. Trade on margin. That's not really me. Oh, what's in a box? What's in a box? Man, so far we have yet to find Gwyneth Paltrow's head, and while I'm surprised, I'm not unpleasantly surprised. So let's go check this room out then, while our light level is still high. And nothing here either. So far our delve through this dungeon has been fairly unremarkable. Now, they say the best dungeon delves are the one that you don't remember because nothing exciting happened, but not necessarily sure that's true. Dr. Hibbert, why don't you read some books? Oh, nope, forever changed the hero, so Dr. Hibbert is now on guard. What does that do for us? Take a look. So Dr. Hibbert, +4 speed, +5 dodge on the first round. Dr. Hibbert is ever wary. After 25 years of being around The Simpsons, it seems like being on his guard would be a good thing. And our light level was lower than I would like. We were surprised, which is not good. Gonna get a Grave Nibble. Grave Nibble I don't like simply because it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. It can stun, as you can see there. But the main problem is the stress. It really pumps a lot of stress onto our companions here. So let's have you go ahead and heal Simpkin. He resisted the bleed. That's good. We're going to have Simpkin. Simpkin can't harvest from where he's at. Alright, we're going to have Simpkin take a solo then. And both of the enemies have resisted the debuff. Excellent. That's beautiful. Karen Murphy continues her campaign of unrelenting slaughter. She has killed every single enemy she has connected with a weapon, and she has not missed a single time. Gonna miss at least one turn there due to a stun. That's a little problematic. Blight grenade from Dr. Frankenstein. That's him a kill. Well, Doc Hibbert's gonna actually patch himself up. He also resisted the bleed, but is still blighted. And Simpkin with the death blow. So that thing can nibble on its own grave, thanks to our mighty Simpkin. But still, most impressed with Karen Murphy. She's really, really doing a bang-up job for us. Plucky little 5'0" detective. She's getting shit done.
Spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
All right, 2 rooms to go then. So this dungeon crawl was fast approaching a conclusion, which that's fine. We're doing well. We haven't really made quite as much money as I'd like. In fact, even with the mission completion bonus, we will sort of only barely broken even, I think. What do we got? Yeah, 750 gold. So we are in the red, or rather in the black. We have turned a profit, just not really a very significant one. We're gonna mark for death. You know what? Actually, we're not. We're gonna do a pull. Let's bring this Fusilier to the front. That's going to severely limit what those two are capable of doing, and it makes that guy all but useless. No blanket fire from that jackhole when he's in the front of the party. Ouch, the slice and dice really kind of hurt. Going to go for the Barbaric Yawp. That's going to stun both of those. Now, that does lower Murph's chance to hit. As you can see, she gets minus 20% damage and minus 15 to dodge. But I'm still well pleased with what Murphy's bringing to the table here. Going to go for the stun. Doc Frankenstein getting shit done for us there. Simpkin, once again, gonna harvest. Now we've got 2 of them bleeding. Excellent. I think we will mark this gentleman, and then we'll see if old Murphy can't put him in the ground. Doc Frankenstein, why don't you soften this guy up with a little blight? And he's bleeding up 2 per round. I was gonna say if we get 1 more out of him, actually, that would have finished him off on his next turn. Murphy and Simpkin both leaping out of the way. And Murph is going to put that guy... Ah, man, Karen Murphy. Seriously. She kicks more ass than an ass-kicking machine. And if you're wondering how much ass can an ass-kicking machine kick, it's actually quite a bit. Ass-kicking machines well noted for their ass-kicking abilities. That's how they got their name. I mean, it's basically just one leg with a giant foot on the end of a fast rotating wheel, but still. It's a machine designed for kicking asses, and it kicks asses pretty good. That heal actually is going to cost us more health in the long run than we named. We healed 2, and we're going to bleed out 3, so... Sort of a negative investment there. Simpkin with a rare miss. Murphy? Man, she... Unbelievable. Unbelievable. She is a goddess of slaughter. And we picked up quite a bit of cash there, an extra 800 from just that fight. So we made more gold off of that one battle than we had previously made through our whole dungeon exploration here. Karen is doing quite lucky. Let's have her check out this backpack. Well, I suppose you can't win them all, Murph. That's just the way of the world. We're going to burn another torch and head on into here. What have we got? It's going to be a fight. Yep. But we did surprise the enemy thanks to our clever torch lighting. That's good. So Simpkin's going to go for a harvest. It's a bloody, bloody harvest. Kind of like the sort they have down in... where the Children of the Corn are out in the heartlands of Iowa. I think we're going to have Murph just get a kill. Yep. And her brutality, just, there's no stopping the little Karen Murphy. She simply will not be stopped. She mercilessly ruins every single foe she comes into contact with. This is going to be a tempting goblet. A little bit of stress. Murph doesn't like it when the uniform gets bloody. That's, yeah, not a big fan of that. We're going to patch Murph up here. So she resisted the bleed, but healed for 0. That does very occasionally happen. And clearly the enemies have decided who the real threat in this party is. And they have decided correctly in that they need to take out Murphy as quickly as possible. Simpkin with a nice critical, though. I think we'll go for the Blight Grenade on this Arbalester. And there's a kill for Dr. Frankenstein, reminding us that he is still around. Murphy finally comes up short. Well, you can't win them all, Murph. I mean, it was sooner or later you were bound to eventually miss one. I mean, it had to eventually happen. That's okay. You've done a fantastic job for us. We have no complaints at all. Doc Hibbert proving a somewhat less than effective healer with his surgical 2x4 there. Little blight from Dr. Frankenstein. Blighted like the Frankenstein house after he created the monster. Am I right, Vic? Yeah. Ah, Murphy. Finally, we see some chinks in the facade. Murphy is starting to show a little weariness. She could just be tired, though, if you think about it. I mean, she's been just unrelentingly brutal to all of our enemies. Killing as quickly as the enemies will step up in front of her. 5 more damage from Victor Frankenstein, who has been pretty effective himself in this particular fight. And there's Murphy with the kill that we've come to expect from our brutal little barbarianess. Truly channeling the fires of hell is Murphy. And a pretty hefty sum of gold there as well. Let's bump Murph back to the front, and I think we'll have Dr. Hibbert open this chest. It's an heirloom chest, which means we should not need a key. So, of course, it's trapped. Delightful. Lesson there, always use the damn key. Bought that key for a reason, and now it's just going to go to waste. Also, it screwed us out of heirlooms, which we could have used to upgrade our Hamlet. Not Prince Hamlet. We couldn't have upgraded him. Although one could easily make the case that Prince Hamlet definitively needed some upgrades. So Dr. Hibbert's pretty hurt. We've got plenty of food available, however, so we're just going to munch through a little bit of that and leave just enough that if we need to eat, we can do so. Unused torch, Dr. Hibbert. We got no more rooms to explore, so we're just going to max our light level out and head into our last room here. And one last fight to go before things are wrapped up for the delve. That's okay. A good opportunity for Dr. Frankenstein to throw a little blinding gas at the enemy. Yeah, 1 for 2. You know, half the time ain't bad. And we finally have a foe that will bleed, so we're going to use bleed out here. Of course, not really going to bleed a whole hell of a lot when Murphy just straight up chops his fucking head off. I mean, that's also going to bleed, but it seems like the bleeding is going to be sort of extraneous to the equation because he doesn't have a head. Speaking of bleeding, Dr. Hibbert missed his injection there and ripped open one of his own veins. Let's throw some more blinding gas at this Arbalester. Keep him sort of out of the fight. Dr. Hibbert, we're going to have him marked for death, this brawler. 1 damage, but it will make it easier for Murphy to chop him into haggis, which Murphy is... You know what? We're actually going to go for bleed out. Oh my god, Murphy! She's a butchering machine! Oh, it's unbelievable. I really wonder if maybe this Hellion here wasn't perhaps a butcher in a previous life. Or maybe just before she decided to become kind of an errant adventurer and sort of seek her fortune and glory. I think she probably worked in a butcher shop, because she knows where to put the blows. She knows how to work. I mean, she's worked on the kill floor before. It's pretty obvious. Dr. Hibbert can't get a kill here, so we're just going to have Dr. Hibbert heal up our mission MVP without a doubt. Aw, I was hoping we could close things out with yet another tally for the notch there. Another notch for the belt, another tally for Murphy, but no dice. Looks like this one's going to go to Dr. Frankenstein. And Dr. Hibbert patch himself up a little bit. Broke even on that one. And Victor Frankenstein then is going to end things with a little bit of a boom. Hey, we got a trinket. The Eldritch Slayer's Ring is interesting, but we don't really fight a whole lot of Eldritch monsters down in this. It's mostly unholy type. This could be useful, however, if we are going on a mission where we know we're going to fight a large number of Eldritch monsters. We can absolutely equip that, so it's a good get. 4 quests, 150 extra gold. And our mission is complete. I don't think we really need to wander around this dungeon any longer. We only have 1 torch left and only 1 room to explore. Probably not worth the stress we would get backtracking. So we're just going to head on home. Back to the Hamlet. And we turned a pretty tidy little profit on that mission. So made almost 3,000 gold after our expenditures. And we picked up 2 deeds, which we desperately needed. Some busts and crests as well. Let's see how our troopers did. Couple levels here. Karen Murphy, a well-deserved level. Honestly, I feel Murphy probably should have gotten more than 1. And she is steady as a result. That's right. Unflappable is the Murph. Of course, when every foe that tries to mess with her just winds up decapitated nearly instantly, it seems like she would be pretty resistant to stress. I mean, she's not going to really be too impressed with anything the enemies have to offer. Dr. Frankenstein is now night blind, which, if the light is below 0, not even sure that can happen, but he has a damage penalty in the darkness, not really anything to worry about. We're not going to let it get that dark. And Dr. Hibbert is unerring, which gives him plus 10% range damage, which is not bad. Eventually he will have a sort of long-range damage ability that hits the back row called Abyssal Artillery. So he will pick that up eventually. I'm comfortable with those gets. Pretty good little turnout there.
I can still see their
So we've unlocked the Survivalist, the Sanitarium, as well as the Nomad Wagon. So let's take a look at those items, just give you a kind of a quick rundown. So, the Survivalist. The Survivalist is basically the guild, but for camping skills. Now, we haven't had a chance to camp yet, but we can drag old Roderick over here and give you a look. Now, every unit does have camping skills, which on your longer missions, sometimes you will camp in the dungeon. Everybody has certain things they can do while camping. For instance, Roderick here can encourage, which takes 2 time. You have 12 time when you're camping, and allows him to reduce a companion's stress. Everybody has different camping abilities. And the Survivalist is where you go to learn new abilities, or rather train up ones that you already have. Just gives you more options for camping. The Sanitarium, something we are going to make use of right away. The Sanitarium is where one goes when one needs to get rid of some particularly afflictive troubles. For instance, we could get rid of kleptomania here. Can we not cure his rabies? Or does he simply have too many ailments for us to even cure them all? I would like to cure Roderick Usher's rabies, if at all possible. Oh, his rabies went away. That's odd. Normally one doesn't just spontaneously get better from rabies, but hey, I'll take it. Still going to probably send Roderick to the Sanitarium, however. In the Sanitarium, what it does, like I said, just gets rid of unwanted mental and physical quirks. We are going to actually upgrade this because treatment of mental ailments is pretty expensive. Just ask Amanda Bynes, am I right? Oh, no. That's a cheap joke. It's not funny. Amanda Bynes has legitimate mental health issues. It's not funny. If you have mental health troubles, please seek advice of a professional. Don't let any stigma from Roderick Usher kind of carry over. But we do still want to try and get rid of some of Roderick's rather long list of crippling problems. Fear of mankind seems to be probably the most important to get rid of, since it gives them a penalty stress resist and penalty accuracy against humans, which you fight a pretty goodly portion of the time. So off you go to the Sanitarium there. Locked old Roderick Usher is now secure in the Sanitarium, awakening treatment. As for the Nomad Wagon,
trinkets and charms.
Thank you, narrator.
From all the forgotten corners of the earth.
Oh, there you have it, folks. I'm not sure I could explain any better than the narrator did. The Nomad Wagon is a place you can come to buy trinkets. You just trade gold for trinkets. This one only works on a Vestal. Bonus heal received and minus max hit points. Not that good, actually. Warrior's Bracer with bonus damage and minus dodge actually is pretty good. Let's take a look and see if we have a hero who has a very low dodge. What's Karen's dodge like? Pretty good, actually. Alright, so I know there is one class, the Leper, which actually has a 0 dodge. They begin with a 0 dodge, so giving minus dodge trinkets to them is a fairly handy thing to do, but since we don't have a Leper in our ranks, at least not yet, don't really see any need to go about recruiting one. So with everything wrapped up and our new additions to the Hamlet explored, I think we'll go ahead and end the episode, while Sir Roderick plays Hob in the Sanitarium, probably slowly being injected with many needles and probably straitjacketed to a wall somewhere. It should be a good time. That's the kind of thing Roderick is into. On the drawback, we actually kind of need to reduce Sir Roderick's stress because his is a little high, but Karen did well enough that we can send her out again if we need to. Randolph Carter, actually, before I wrap things up, I think we're going to send Randolph out drinking. He's looking a little troubled. I think maybe a drink or two would sort of ease his cares, maybe lighten his load a little. And a round bought for noted occultist Randolph Carter. Now we will go ahead and wrap things up. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, feel free to drop a like down in the comments section. Your support really does mean a lot to us. And if you'd like to see more 3 times a week, rather, I was going to say daily, but we don't really do this daily. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you'd like to catch more Darkest Dungeon, feel free to subscribe as well. We'll see you again soon.